I just don't believe that Trump is playing this kind of high-risk poker just for Israel, or even to liberate millions of Iranians from a horrific, torturous, authoritarian regime. Guys, when I take a step back to examine these issues critically, and I look for the connective tissue, not only do these matters seem deeper than what's largely discussed, they also don't appear to be isolated incidents. Iran, Venezuela, Greenland, Panama. These are all highly calculated, coordinated moves with an unquestionable overarching conflict. I see a supply chain Cold War. Think about this for a second, right? Wars have been fought over ideology, and that's a relic of the past. We're no longer doing the whole commie Red Scare thing. And so's the traditional arms race, this cold calculus of counting warheads pointed at one another. That belongs to the 20th century. We can all pretty much nuke each other fully into oblivion at this point. So how does a country gain leverage in the 21st century? It's supply chain dominance. It's warring over logistical choke points, critical minerals, and the energy lifelines that keep the modern world running. And China has built its rapid economic ascent by securing those choke points and global supply chains. Corporations shifted manufacturing to China because the labor was cheap, and Washington went along with it, dressing the arrangement up in the language of free markets and democratic progress. And the democracy angle wasn't entirely baloney. I mean, a lot of people genuinely believed that economic integration would moderate the Chinese Communist Party. But the real driver was margin. Companies got cheaper production, consumers got cheaper goods, and the geopolitical consequences were absolutely treated as an afterthought. What followed was China leveraging open markets, Western capital, and a World Trade Organization membership to become the dominant force in global supply chains. They did not become a liberalized democracy. And we should have had the foresight to appreciate that the cheaper element has an inverse relationship with the safer element. We just offshored manufacturing, but we also offshored our leverage and our national security. So here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that Trump's primary objective is to systematically throttle and dismantle the economic hegemony of the People's Republic of China. If China flipped a switch tomorrow and zero shipments arrive from them, the United States wouldn't face a slow economic decline. It would face immediate systemic paralysis. So here's an idea of how I think that collapse would play out sector by sector. First, the pharmacies go empty. And this is the most terrifying and immediate threat because the United States relies on China for a massive percentage of its active pharmaceutical ingredients. Guys, we are talking about the baseline chemicals required to make everything from antibiotics to ibuprofen to blood pressure medications and cancer treatments. So within a matter of months, hospital supply closets would run dry. Your local pharmacy shelves would be stripped bare. It would be pretty much an instant nationwide public health crisis. Number two, the tech and communications freeze. I mean, we might design the world's best microchips in California, but the physical hardware, the smartphones, the servers, the motherboards, the routers, all of that is overwhelmingly assembled in China. If the supply stops, nothing gets fixed or replaced. IT infrastructure would begin to degrade. Telecommunications networks would struggle to maintain servers. The device that runs our financial markets, hospitals, power grids would all face critical hardware shortages. Number three, the military-industrial crisis. You can't build 21st century weapons without 21st century materials, and China absolutely dominates the processing of rare earth elements. And if they cut off the supply tomorrow, the United States defense sector would slow almost to a crawl. We would lose a huge amount of the raw materials required to build F-35 fighter jets, guided missiles, night vision equipment, and advanced radar systems. The arsenal of democracy would effectively be starved of its raw ingredients. And number four, instant hyperinflation and retail collapse. Take a walk through Walmart, Home Depot, an auto parts store. The sheer volume of replacement parts, basic machinery, textiles, everyday consumer goods that come from Chinese factories, it's staggering. And if that supply vanishes, whatever is left on American shelves would skyrocket in price overnight. You would see inflation that makes the last few years look like a joke. The bottom line is that we don't just lose cheap flat screen TVs, okay? We lose our ability to heal our sick, power our grid, arm our military, and that's the terrifying reality of a supply chain Cold War. And Donald Trump has made it clear, if you've been paying attention, that this is a massive concern and something that he's working to remedy relentlessly in an unapologetic move away from globalization. No longer, right? Instead of worshiping open markets, the new doctrine is aggressive decoupling by weaponizing massive tariffs, threatening secondary sanctions, issuing blunt force ultimatums to our allies, all while he's executing a parallel campaign of logistical annexation to sever China's global arteries. I mean, we are watching in real time the annexation of the nodes that run the global economy. Panama's a node, Greenland's a node, Venezuela's a node, Iran's a node. We're taking the board piece by piece. All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking here.